Good morning. We are the Unitarian Universalist Church in Meriden and the Mattatuck Unitarian Universalist Society, working together to advance our shared values of spiritual growth and advancing the cause of social justice in a community of trust and mutuality. My name is Jeff May, your host and producer for this morning's very special service, in which we welcome Robert Werme, who served for several years as the Mattatuck Society's music director, and Ann Quackenbos, who is the pianist at Moose. Robert and Ann will share their musical gifts with us in this service, centered on an ancient Mexican myth of how music came to Earth, an adaptation of which will be narrated this morning by Kate McKinney. While we may not be meeting in our building right now, there is still much going on and opportunities for building community and making connections. Next Sunday, we will hold an outdoor service at the Spiral Garden behind the Meriden Meeting House. All are welcome as long as you're not experiencing medical symptoms or are known to have been exposed to an infected person. Social distancing and the use of masks will be required, and we ask that you bring your own folding chair. The service will be broadcast live on our Facebook feeds and on the Meriden YouTube channel. For more information about this and other events, please visit our websites and our Facebook pages. Being Unitarian Universalists, we, of course, will hold a coffee hour immediately following the service, in this case, using Zoom. We highly encourage you to join us. A short link to the Zoom room is on our screen right now and will be shared again at the end of the service this morning. It's one more opportunity to make some new connections during this time when we really do need them so much. Thank you again for joining us this morning. Let us worship together in community.
I believe in music. Mac Davis wrote this song, recorded it back in the 70s, I think, but it seemed to fit with the theme today. I could just sit around making music all day long. As long as I'm making my music, ain't nobody gonna do nobody no harm. And who knows, maybe someday I'll come up with a song make people want to stop fussing and fighting just long enough to sing along. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. Music is love. Love is music, if you know what I mean. People who believe in music are the happiest people I've ever seen. So clap your hands and stop your feet and shake your tambourine. And lift your voices to the sky and tell me what you see. Come on. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. Music is the universal language and love is the key. Peace, hope, and understanding and living in harmony. So take your sister by the hand and come along with me. Lift your voices to the sky. Tell me what you see. Sing now. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. Keep on believing.
We believe that this time together is made holy by virtue of our being together. And we begin our time together by lighting the symbol of our faith, the flaming chalice. Please join me with the chalice lighting words that should appear on your screen. May this flame invite us into fellowship, inspire our spirit, and ignite in us a passion for racial, economic, and environmental justice. Let's join in this service together.
This is a song called She Speaks, written by Susan Osborne. Who is she? She is the goddess of the universe. She is the Mother Earth. She is the archetypal feminine who lives and speaks and sings in all that is. She speaks in the rushing of rivers. She speaks in the crying of a child. She speaks in the glances of lovers. She speaks in the footsteps of the wild. Oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh. You can sing this. Oh la 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 la. Oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la, oh. She speaks in the quiet of the morning. She speaks in the ringing of a bell. She speaks in the colors of the dawning. She speaks in the heart of his prisoner's cell. Oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la. Joyfully, la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh la 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 la, oh la la, oh lay, oh la la la, oh la la, oh. And when she speaks, I can hear if I listen. There is music everywhere. In that moment, past and future forgiven. That moment is here. I call to the night wind through the pine boughs. I call to my heart's own stillness. I call to the pounding of the sea waves. I call to the calm beyond the storm.
This is a story based on an ancient Incan poem called How Music Came to the World. One day, two gods met on a wild and windy plain. One was Tezcatlipoca, the sky god. The other was Quetzalcoatl, the wind god. They were both very powerful. Sometimes they fought each other, but sometimes, like this time, they helped each other. Tezcatlipoca spoke first. "What took you so long?" he said. "It's hurricane season," said Quetzalcoatl. "I've been busy. I've been whipping up the waves." "This is more important than hurricanes." "I'll be the judge of that," said the wind god. "Stop huffing for a moment and listen," said Tezcatlipoca. "What do you hear?" Quetzalcoatl listened. "Nothing," he said. "Exactly, nothing. No one sings. No one plays a note. The only sound to be heard is the sound of your roaring. We need to wake up the world, wind. And I don't mean with hurricanes. We need music." "Music?" said Quetzalcoatl. "What does that have to do with me? I have no music." "I know," the sky god said. But I'll tell you who does have it, the sun. He surrounds himself with singers and music makers who play and sing for him all day long, and he won't share their music with us. Won't share? Said Quetzalcoatl. That's not fair. I know, said Tezcatlipoca. So listen, wind, I want you to travel to the house of the sun. I want you to bring back the best singers and the best musicians. Remember, he said as the wind god unfolded his wings, we need to wake up the world. We need music. Quetzalcoatl hurled himself into the air. He flew over land and sea, searching the endless coastline for a single beach. He knew there was only one way he could travel to the house of the sun. Spying the beach at last, he landed and called out the names of the sky god's 3 servants, King and Conch, Water Woman, and Water Monster. When they were all before him, he ordered them to make a bridge. The servants grabbed hold of each other. They began to grow tall and thin and to twine together like a rope. They turned into a strong rope bridge that disappeared into the sky. Quetzalcoatl climbed the bridge, following it higher and higher as the earth grew smaller and smaller below. Finally, he came to the house of the sun. He could see its towers shimmering in the distance. Getting to them was not so easy, though. He had to find his way through a maze of streets with high walls. He kept getting lost and going around in circles. Nearly ready to give up, he heard a beautiful sound that he had never heard before. It was cool and bright. It was sweet and light. It was music. Quetzalcoatl followed the sound until it led him out of the maze. Then he saw the musicians in the great courtyard of the sun. The flute players were dressed in gold and yellow. The wandering minstrels wore blue. The lullaby singers were dressed in white, and the singers of love songs wore red. Suddenly the sun saw Quetzalcoatl. "Stop playing," he cried. "Stop singing. It's that terrible wind. Don't even speak to him, or he will take you back to that silent planet of his." Quetzalcoatl lifted his wings and called, "Musicians, come with me." None of them said a word. And the wind god cried out, "Singers, musicians, the Lord of the sky commands you." The musicians remained silent. Quetzalcoatl did not like to be ignored. He exploded with anger, like 100 hurricanes going off at once. Lightning cracked and thunder boomed, and clouds swirled around the house of the sun, turning the daylight into darkness. The wind god roared as if there was no end to his voice. Everything fell down. The sun flickered like a tiny flame. The musicians ran to the wind and huddled in his lap, trembling with fear. Instantly, the wind's anger passed. The thunder faded and the clouds vanished. Quetzalcoatl took the musicians in his arms and left the house of the sun, moving through the maze as if it was not even there. The wind god was filled with great happiness as he followed the sky bridge back to earth. He felt like a father carrying his children home. The earth could also feel that something new was coming, something it needed and had been secretly wishing for. As the wind god came nearer, the earth let out a slow sigh of relief. Its fruit began to ripen, and its flowers began to bloom with new, deeper colors. The whole planet seemed to be waking up from a deep sleep. Finally, Quetzalcoatl touched down on the earth with the musicians and singers. They looked around curiously at the silent, waiting planet. Then they began to play. Through the forests and valleys and deserts and oceans, they wandered, filling the air with music. Soon, people learned to sing and play, and so did the trees and the birds, the whales and wolves, the running streams, the crickets and frogs, and every other creature. From dawn to dusk, the melody spread until music covered the earth. The wind god was pleased. So was the sky god. The musicians were happy in their new home. And ever since that day, the earth has been filled with music. The end.
Good morning. Pachamama is a goddess revered by the indigenous people of the Andes, Central and South America. In 1995, a group of people, including John Perkins and Bill and Lynn Twist, traveled to the rainforest at the invitation of the Ashwar people of the Amazon to learn more. The Ashwar shared with that North American group the urgent threat to their lands and culture, their vision for self-determination, and a request for allies from the North who would, quote, change the dream of the modern world, end quote, shifting our culture of overconsumption to one that honors and sustains life. I had the opportunity to take a seminar with some of these people who came back from that trip over a decade ago. They committed to a partnership with the Ashwar. And when they came back to the United States, Bill Twist and Lynn Twist co-founded the Pachamama Alliance that would carry out their commitment. I titled my sermonette today, Waking Up the World, in harmony with the mission of Pachamama Alliance of awakening the dreamers, those dreamers being you and me. I want to thank Kate McKinney for reading the story this morning and for Jeff May for creating the slides from the terrific artwork by Carol Uber. As I listened to Kate read, I was again struck by the wonderful imagination of our indigenous ancestors and our 21st century brothers and sisters. They shamelessly godified everything in nature: sky, earth, wind, trees, all the critters were companions in life. The world is simply alive with cosmic adventurers and epic warriors, and wonder upon celestial wonder. Makes me wonder, here and now, after generations spent converting everything into linear, logical, binary codes, maybe we're beginning again to understand and discover the power and importance of storytelling, of music making, and all the artistic expressions to really convey meaning and even mediate truth. So, there was this time when the world was silent. Stop huffing for a moment and listen, said the god sky. What do you hear? The god wind listened. Nothing, he said. Exactly. Nothing. No one sings. No one plays a note. The only sound to be heard is the sound of your roaring. We need to wake up the world. Wind, and I don't mean with hurricanes. We need music. So I invite you to imagine a time when there was no sound but the whistling of the wind. And you may say, silence is golden. The wind's whistle is a beautiful thing to listen to, and that's, of course, true. I have to agree. We live in a rather noisy time, and sometimes it feels like finding a little silence is more than a little challenging. Even music is so instantly and constantly available on our wireless devices. There's a certain kind of silence that is equally as beautiful as music. And there is a silence that is empty, terrifying, barren, lifeless. In the words of Paul Simon, in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words, that I might teach you. Take my arms, that I might reach you. But my words like silent raindrops fell, and echoed in the wells of silence, within the sound of silence. Don Campbell, in his book, The Mozart Effect, tells the story of the French otolaryngologist Alfred Tomatis. That's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I just like to say otolaryngologist. Tomatis was summoned to a monastery in France where the monks had all become infected with a peculiar condition that was depressing the whole community. The monks were constantly tired, performed their labors poorly, and the new abbot was getting more and more frustrated. Dr. Tomatis discovered that this community was famous and had a long history of daily chanting, but that the new abbot, wanting to modernize the monastic practice, had cut out the chanting from their daily schedule. He diagnosed their condition as chant deprivation, and when the abbot reinstated the daily practice, the community's vitality returned in a matter of days. I think it's this kind of empty, malignant, deathly silence that is the world's condition at the beginning of the story that Kate read for us. And just as chanting remedied the infirmity of the French monks, so too does chanting and music offer to remedy the drowsiness of our world and awaken us to a renewed connection with one another and vitality. It's clear to us today that music of one form or another is made in every corner of the human communal life. Music is indigenous to our human condition. Our Western tradition has tended, as with many things, to turn musical performance into a goal unto itself and make virtuosity into some kind of private victory. My mother earned a degree in piano performance from the University of Michigan, and as much as I benefited from and will always admire her talent, music was mostly work for my mother. I don't recall her ever, at least often, being joyful about making music. Criticism of herself as well as others was always present. And for me, I was immersed in music of one form or another from my earliest memory. There was always a piano in the Werme living room. Mom practiced regularly. My dad would play symphonic music and conduct an imaginary orchestra, and he was never happier than when he sang in the church choir or in the Norwalk Community Chorus or in a barbershop quartet. When I ask myself, how did music come into my world? I reply, it was always there. Of course, when I learned to play music myself and began myself to sing in choirs, and I was encouraged to become a performer, and people called me a musician, it became less merely in my world, it became a core part of who I am. And it has forever been that. And I don't know many folks who don't treasure music in one way or another, as a fan of a particular musician or style of music. And I don't know many folks who, if they did not learn to play an instrument as a child, long to learn to play or sing and become members of the Performers Club. And I tell everyone, I tell you, it's never the wrong time to become a student. And that's as true for music as for anything. Music, said the god wind, what does that have to do with me? I have no music. I know, God Sky said, but I tell you who does have it, the sun. He surrounds himself with singers and music makers who play and sing for him all day long, and he won't share their music with us. I admit I've never been a fan of the music business. I'm less critical than I once was. But the hyper-commercialization and hyper-professionalization and ubiquity of music and everywhere and commercials creates barriers between the art and the people. I took up drumming and drum circle facilitation largely because it was egalitarian. It was available to everyone at little or no cost and little or no specialized training. It opened up many to the gift of rhythm that exists in every one of us. And people could do it together. And there weren't any wrong notes. These days, I understand ukuleles are becoming popular in the same way. So music is beginning to become made by everybody again. Not only this, Paul Winter, the jazz saxophone player, demonstrated that whales and wolves and elk and other critters are all part of the choir, part of the orchestra. Ambient human music is being recorded in concert with nature's own sounds. One can even imagine the whistling of the wind might have found a way to whistle along with the musicians he carried back from the sun to the earth. David Darling, the Grammy-winning cellist who once played in Paul Winter's consort, has been for the past 30 years the artistic director of an organization called Music for People. It's a movement to bring people together, virtuoso and shower singers together, to experience making music, great music, together. I believe Pachamama, the Earth Mother, is certainly singing out for us to awaken to our musical connections to one another. I hope you will let the music within you and among you stir you to that special vitality that music alone can awaken. I will never forget the wonderful years I served as music director for you folks, the Mattatuck Unitarian Universalist Society, Moose. I know you will always make beautiful music together. Be blessed.
It sometimes can seem as if we're caught in an almost endless procession of difficulty, challenge, and uncertainty. In times such as these, it's important that we have the ability to come together, even if we can only do so virtually, to remind ourselves that there is still hope, that there is still love, that there are still good-hearted people who can look unblinking into the storm and continue to believe that a calm, bright morning will come. This community is a refuge where we can keep the ember of hope alive when all the world seems intent on dousing it. And then we can use our little ember to light a beacon for the rest of the world. Our offerings sustain this community so that we can share our small embers to light a dark world. We understand that times are tough and that many are unable to contribute as generously as they'd like, but within your ability, we ask that you can do whatever you can to keep our ministry alive during this global crisis. You can contribute online at the website of each congregation. The addresses are there on your screen. Or you can mail your contributions to one of our 2 congregations. For all that you do for our ministry of hope, we are truly thankful.
We've come to the end of our service, and at the end of the service we extinguish our flaming chalice. But we believe we take that flame with us in our hearts wherever it go. May we keep that flame in our hearts, may it keep our hearts warm, and may it be a good companion to a song, to music that we also keep in our hearts. Go in peace, holy ones. We'll see you next week.
It may be true that nothing lasts forever, but we're not quite done yet. Please join us for coffee in the Zoom room. We've made the link easy now so that it's very simple to get there. It's there on your screen, but it's go.uucentralct.org/coffee. That's go.uucentralct.org/coffee. Pour a cup of your favorite beverage and join us right after the service. Thanks.